During the height of World War, i.e. the B-24 Liberator known as Lady Be Good undertook a bold mission over North Africa, manned by a crew eager to demonstrate their capabilities. However, destiny intervened, transforming this flight into a compelling narrative of valor and sorrow. After disappearing without a trace, the aircraft became an enduring symbol of loss and enigma, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions that would intrigue future generations. Join us as we explore the remarkable story of Lady Be Good, emblematic of bravery and the unyielding quest for truth amidst adversity. On April 4, 1943, the B-24D Liberator, referred to as Lady Be Good, took off from Solich airstrip near Benghazi, Libya, embarking on her inaugural and ultimately final mission. This aircraft, a newly commissioned B-24D bomber, had been assigned to the 514 the Bomb Squadron of the United States Army Air Forces, USAAF, on March 25, as part of the 376th Bombardment Group heavy stationed at Solich Field. Bearing the AAF serial number 4,124,301, it prominently displayed the group's identification number 64 on its nose. Aboard were 9 crew members from the 514th Squadron of the 376th the Bomb Group, each assigned specific roles and filled with high spirits under the command of First Lieutenant William J. Hatton. Lady Be Good was designated to join a formation for a bombing mission over Naples, Italy. The aircraft was painted in a solid olive drab, a color selected to blend with the military camouflage of the era, enhancing her distinctive appearance, which featured a circular American cockade. The distinctive white star, framed by a yellow outline, adorned the fuselage, symbolizing her allegiance. The crew's personal touch was evident in the hand-painted name Lady Be Good, located on the forward section of the aircraft, which imbued this rugged bomber with a unique character. However, the mission encountered immediate challenges. A combination of fierce desert winds and swirling sandstorms severely limited visibility, compelling several aircraft to abort their missions and return to base. Nevertheless, Lady Be Good and 3 others continued their journey, reaching Naples by 7:50 p.m. at an altitude of 20,000 to 25,000 feet. Unfortunately, thick clouds and poor visibility obscured their primary target, leading 2 of the B-24s to engage a secondary target during their return. The remaining 2, including Lady Be Good, released their payloads over the Mediterranean to conserve fuel for the return flight to North Africa. This pivotal decision initiated a return journey that would ultimately culminate in tragedy. During the solitary return across the vast and unforgiving Sahara, disaster struck, sealing the fate of Lady Be Good and her crew. The aircraft continued alone through the night, navigating blindly back toward her Libyan base. At 12:12 a.m., pilot Lieutenant William Hatton communicated with Solich Field, reporting that the plane's automatic direction finder had malfunctioned and requesting the location of the base. Despite the flares launched to signal the crew, the aircraft flew unnoticed over their intended destination, continuing southward and drifting deeper into the expansive Sahara Desert for an additional 2 hours. As Lady Be Good pressed onward into the darkness, her crew unaware of the impending peril. At 2 a.m., with fuel reserves nearly depleted, the crew faced the challenging decision to parachute into the desert below, while the Liberator continued its silent journey, gliding an additional 16 miles before crash landing in the Coleno Sand Sea. Initially, it was believed that Lady Be Good had descended into the Mediterranean, leading rescue efforts to focus on the sea, which ultimately failed to uncover any trace of the aircraft or its crew. This quiet disappearance left behind a haunting enigma, as both Lady Be Good and her crew were engulfed by the vast desert, their story lying dormant in the sands for many years. The last communication from Lady Be Good came from Latin Hatton, who had contacted Solis Airfield for assistance, indicating that the aircraft's automatic direction finder was malfunctioning and that they required guidance. Unfortunately, the crew did not receive the requested help and subsequently overshot Solis. A search and rescue team was dispatched, but the ill-fated crew could not be found. By the conclusion of the search, it was reported that Lady Be Good and her crew had been lost over the Mediterranean Sea. By the end of World War I, the fate of Lady Be Good remained an unsolved mystery. While her story was not unique, as many aircraft and crews went missing during the war, the narrative of Lady Be Good and her crew would eventually be reconstructed. In November 1958, British geologists working for the Darcy Oil Company, which would later merge with British Petroleum, were conducting aerial surveys. In the expansive Libyan desert, a remarkable discovery was made, the wreckage of a downed aircraft, which led to the identification of its coordinates. The team promptly reached out to Wheelus Air Force Base for assistance. However, the base had no record of any American aircraft being lost in that area, resulting in a delayed response to the geologists' inquiry. Undeterred, the team persisted with their aerial surveys and once again located the wreckage by March 1959. Acknowledging the importance of their findings, Darcy Oil Company decided to take action by sending a ground team to investigate the enigmatic crash site. This decision initiated a sequence of events that would eventually unveil the long-concealed narrative of Lady Be Good and her ill-fated crew, revealing the secrets of the desert that had held them captive for over 15 years. The initial examination of the crash site was conducted by a Darcy surveyor named Gordon Bowman, who was acquainted with Lieutenant Colonel Walter B. Buss, the commander of Wheelus Air Base. Following his visit to the site, Bowman wrote a letter to Lieutenant Colonel K. Buss outlining his findings, which included insights from the aircraft's maintenance inspection records and the names of the crew members found on clothing and equipment scattered around the wreckage. This crucial information prompted officials from Wheelus Air Force Base and the Army Quartermaster Mortuary in Frankfurt, Germany, to undertake their own investigation of the crash site. The pieces of the puzzle were finally beginning to align after 16 years. After many years of enigma and silence, the narrative of Lady Be Good was on the verge of emerging from obscurity, ready to be recounted and commemorated. The initial military investigation into the crash site of Lady Be Good began in May 1959 and lasted several months, concluding in August of the same year. During this time frame, military personnel undertook comprehensive ground searches in conjunction with controlled air searches, meticulously scouring the area for any indications of the lost crew. Despite their extensive efforts, which spanned several months, the team was unable to locate any remains of the airmen. However, they did manage to recover some equipment belonging to the crew, including parachutes, flight boots, and arrowhead markers, which were presumably left behind to assist in navigating the harsh terrain. As the search continued, the conditions began to adversely affect the equipment utilized, leading to failures and deterioration. Ultimately, the operation was deemed impractical, with the understanding that the shifting sands of the desert had likely concealed any remaining traces of the airmen. Consequently, the search was abandoned, leaving the fate of the crew once again enveloped in mystery. In February 1960, just 6 months after the initial search efforts concluded, a significant breakthrough occurred when the remains of 5 crew members from Lady Be Good were discovered. Similar to the initial identification of the crash site, this crucial finding was once again credited to the observant eyes of British Petroleum employees working in the area. Following this discovery, officials from the Army Quartermaster Corps returned to Libya to pray the site was examined, and the challenging task of identifying the remains commenced. It was confirmed that the remains belonged to Lieutenant William Hatton, Lieutenant Robert Toner, Lieutenant D.P. Hayes, Sergeant Samuel Adams, and Sergeant Robert Lamont. Alongside the skeletal remains, a collection of personal items was recovered, including canteens, flashlights, pieces of parachutes, and flight jackets. Each artifact provided a glimpse into the lives of the courageous men who once occupied the aircraft. Among the most significant items discovered was a diary belonging to Lieutenant Robert Toner, which ultimately illuminated the final moments of the crew's harrowing ordeal, offering invaluable insights into their thoughts and experiences during those critical hours in the desert. Following the discovery of 5 of the 9 airmen, the military initiated a final, determined effort to locate the remaining 4 crew members, an endeavor named Operation Climax. This collaborative initiative involved both the Army and Air Force. As part of this joint operation, search teams meticulously combed the expansive Libyan desert, resulting in the successful recovery of 2 additional crew members. Sergeant Guy Schell was located approximately 21 miles northwest of where the first 5 men had been found, while Sergeant Harold Ripslinger was discovered about 26 miles north of Sergeant Schell's position. Despite the progress achieved during Operation Climax, the operation concluded at the end of May 1960, with 2 men still unaccounted for, leaving unresolved questions regarding the fate of the Lady Be Good crew and their heroic efforts during the ill-fated mission in August 1960. British Petroleum assessed the site. A significant discovery was made when the remains of Lieutenant John Morava were found, marking the last crew member whose fate had been uncertain. Unlike the others, Lieutenant Morava did not reunite with the group after they parachuted from the Lady Be Good. His identification provided a bittersweet resolution to the search for the crew, confirming the fates of 8 out of the 9 airmen. However, the search for Sergeant Vernon Moore, the 9th and final crew member, remains unresolved, as his remains have never been located, leaving a poignant void in the narrative of bravery and sacrifice that characterized the ill-fated mission of the Lady Be Good and her crew. With all evidence meticulously collected, military officials were able to reconstruct the final moments of the Lady Be Good and her courageous crew. It is believed that after inadvertently overshooting their intended destination, the aircraft began to run critically low on fuel. The return flight took place in darkness, a challenge further complicated by the crew's inexperience, ultimately leading to their tragic end. Under the false impression that they were flying over the Mediterranean Sea, the crew did not attempt to land the plane. Instead, all 9 men made the harrowing decision to bail out, resulting in a bittersweet survival story. 8 of the crew members successfully ejected from the aircraft and landed approximately 15 miles from the crash site. However, their journey to safety became increasingly desperate. Armed with only half a canteen of water, they began a grueling trek across the unforgiving desert. The remarkable journey of the Lady Be Good began with a parachute drop, covering an astonishing 85 miles. As exhaustion set in, 5 of the crew members were unable to continue, leaving only 3 to seek assistance. Regrettably, these last remaining survivors also fell victim to the severe conditions of the Sahara, ultimately succumbing to the vast desert. Although the Lady Be Good and her crew did not survive their harrowing experience, their poignant narrative endures. It has been commemorated in various forms, including blogs, books, films, museum exhibits, paintings, and even a stained glass window housed at the National Museum of the United States Air Force, ensuring that their legacy and sacrifice are never forgotten. The truth surrounding the tragic fate of the Lady Be Good has emerged from obscurity, highlighting the crew's unwavering spirit and the bittersweet irony that survival was within their grasp had fate taken a different turn. The story of the B-24 Liberator, Lady Be Good, encapsulates a tale of mystery and resilience from its valiant missions to its sorrowful conclusion. This aircraft embodies the complexities of wartime experiences, reminding us of the unpredictable nature of war and the tenacity of those who serve. The legacy of the Lady Be Good remains a significant chapter in aviation history, igniting curiosity and reflection for future generations. Do you concur? Please share your thoughts in the comments.